Having Brent Gove tell you you're one of the most loving human beings, that's like a huge compliment, because that guy is a ball of love. All right. You guys feeling okay after that talk with Leo? That was incredible, right? The knowledge that Leo just gave us, our CEO, in the last few minutes. So, I didn't know what he was going to talk about, but I had a guess. And so, I really wrestled with what I was going to cover with you guys today in my 10 minutes, and I decided I was just going to tell you my story. Because I've gone through a few phases in my real estate career, and the thing that's probably impacted my life the most was building a community on the EXP platform. And I want to explain what that means, because probably half of you are from the EXP already, half of you are guests here kind of listening in. What he said at the end of his talk, he said, the net survivors, you guys know what he means when he says, like, the people who make it through this shift, August 17th, right, the people that make it through a year from now, that are not with EXP, they're going to need a home, right? And so we have the ability to build a community on this platform, and I've been in real estate for a long time. My business partner, by the way, my entire career has been my mother, so I'm a certified mama's boy. Very, very grateful. I love the family panel we did earlier. But this is one of the lessons, because I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey, how I got here, and some of the lessons that do relate to building a community in the EXP platform. They relate to anything. Some of you earlier, you heard some speakers talk about personal branding and rebranding yourself, right? You heard Wendy was talking about creating a new identity in luxury, right? Some of you are going to have to create a new identity because you've never done a buyer presentation in your life, right? You don't. You do listing presentations and then you go work with buyers. So some of these things I teach, even though I'm not specifically talking about working with buyers, you can apply them to everything. So for example, this first quote, I had a mentor who told me this years ago, and I've lived by this most of my career, which is, enthusiasm on fire is better than knowledge on ice. I'm not saying you don't need to know anything. Go get knowledgeable. I mean, understand how this works. But if you go into your buyer consultations, your buyer presentations, confident and excited and on fire, it's going to take you so much further than almost anything else. Does that make sense? When you're talking to agents from other brokerages, if you're following in terms of agent attraction, that enthusiasm, that's going to take you everywhere, right? That's really the most important thing. So, I've been in real estate for 21 years. My real estate career is now legal. It can go drink. It can go do what it wants to do. But here's the cool thing. And I want to see if anybody relates to this. My career has kind of gone in 5-year chunks. And every 5 years, even from the first day when I got into real estate, I don't think I ever imagined myself being in real estate beyond 5 years from that day. Can anyone relate to that? One or two of you? The rest of you were too shy to raise your hand, right? Like, I got into real estate, I'm like, I'll do this for about 5 years, right? So I got into real estate 2003. Did this for about 5 years. The first 5 years of my career, I was obsessed with lead generation. Like obsessed. Learning how to do it, how funnels worked. This is the early days of the internet marketing, but like I was truly trying to figure out how does it work. And the reason why is because my goal was freedom. Right? I spent 5 years trying to learn lead generation because I figured if I could generate enough leads, then I could go put those into action. Maybe I could build a team, do whatever I want to do with them. And it worked pretty good. I didn't quite ever get to the point of freedom, but I did okay. Right? So the next 5 years. Then 2008 came, 2009. Anyone in real estate back 2008, 2009? Remember what happened then? Right? Market. Right? I started selling bank-owned homes. And so I got really deep. I got obsessed. By the way, this is a theme of mine as I reinvent yourself. Those of you who are taking notes, write this down. If you're going to reinvent yourself, get obsessed. I got obsessed with how does this foreclosure system work. I didn't even know what an REO was. I didn't know anything about it. But someone said, go to a conference, get on a plane. So I got on planes and I traveled and I went and I started meeting everyone. I ended up running a networking group inside the default space. Like, I was a young kid at the time. I was in my early 20s, but I was running this nationwide network because I got obsessed. I made connections. I was a connector. Right? It was always part of who I was in my DNA. I like connecting people. And this is another lesson that you can learn. You don't have to know everything, but you have to know how to connect someone to where the solution is. Does that make sense? Okay? So, I got into REO, and I was again looking for freedom. And I had a lot of fun. I mean, in terms of the part of the business was good. I also had some pretty hard times because those were rough years. People are losing their houses. It was a very up and down time. And I built a big back office team thinking that would give me freedom. And I did get some freedom at that time, right? I got some freedom. I built my team, my systems enough that I was able to go travel. So that 5-year period ended, and I moved to Thailand. How many of you guys can imagine not carrying a cell phone for an entire year? I heard someone shouted, I would die. How many of you would like not being able to carry a cell phone for a year? Half of you. Half of you would die. Half of you get twitchy and shaky even just thinking about not carrying a cell phone. That's okay. All right? So I moved to Thailand with my wife. And my wife and I were in Thailand. I literally didn't carry a cell phone for an entire year. Before we had kids, we wanted an adventure. We traveled all over Southeast Asia. I still sold houses in San Diego. I worked maybe 1 or 2 hours a week. That's all I did. Okay? Because I had systems that I'd put in place. So did I find freedom there? That was some pretty decent freedom. But then the industry shifted. Things changed again. Right? So then fast forward, I came back. I started my sales team back up. I built my team up to 21 agents. We were selling hundreds of homes a year. And I thought that would find me freedom. Any of you guys run sales teams in the room? Any women or men run sales teams in the room? Do you find yourself totally free doing that? I got quiet giggles on that one. Right? It's a different business model. There's nothing wrong with that. But the thing that finally gave me true freedom was building a community on the EXP platform. And so for some of you guys, you're here because you're like, I love it. I'm already on that path. Some of you are like, I'm curious. I got 3.5 minutes left, and that's all I want you to listen to open your mind to something that you might not be aware of. Cool? Because it's really pretty straightforward, right? So the key to anything, when I first got into this, I didn't know how to recruit agents. I never attracted agents because that's the thing I hear a lot. I just want to sell houses. Awesome. I just wanted to sell houses. But I really wanted to get freedom. Early on, it's because I wanted to be a rock star. I wanted to play music. I wanted time for that. Nowadays, it's because I have 2 little kids. I got a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old. I want the freedom to go be with my children and be with my family when I want to. Does that make sense, guys? So I still sold houses, but I jumped in. So if you're going to learn the new buyer consultation, if you're going to learn whatever you're going to change, whatever you're going to reinvent, you got to jump in. So early on in my career with EXP, that is me in a Batman costume. I've been with EXP for a few months, and I went to an office, and someone told me that I should be breaking down for them how EXP works, and they would talk about it. So it was Halloween at the time, and I was told that the entire office would be all dressed up in costume. They were not. It was me in October, sweating from head to toe in this Batman costume. The Starbucks barista was the team leader, by the way, not a Starbucks barista. He actually wasn't in costume, but no one else was in costume. You gotta jump in, right? Like you have to jump in and just start doing it regardless of what it is. So, another lesson for you. Always control your environment. That was something I didn't know about. I didn't realize that. As I've gone through this, I've learned whether, again, buyer presentation, whether you're attracting agents, ways that you can figure out how to adjust and control your environment are going to take you very far. I want to show you this. I could spend hours talking about it, but it's such a simple concept. Those of you that are already with us, that are looking at building communities with EXP, take a screenshot of this, take a picture. This is as simple as it gets if you want to build a community on the EXP platform. However, you can apply this to anything, working with buyers, sellers, whatever it is, right? It's just 7 steps. And it's this simple process that's duplicatable. That's what's allowed me to build. I'll tell you my organization in a second. So step 1 is make a list. Step 2 is say hello. Just start conversations. Then you're going to tell your story. We're going to start to add value. Whether this is buyers or sellers, whatever it is, whether you're using social media and video to generate these conversations, you're still going to start a dialogue. You're going to be making deposits into the business equity relationship account. You're starting to do nice things for them, offer value. Like someone might have invited you to this event today because they wanted to offer value to you. Every other speaker is talking about how to sell more houses. That's why you're here, to learn that, right? We learn about their hopes, dreams, goals, and pain points, and then we invite them to learn more. So some of you guys are here at some point, you might say, I'm curious to learn more, right? See step 5, you're going to educate them on what the platform is. You're going to keep the conversation going. And at some point, like Leo said, the survivors are going to need a home. They're going to need a place to come to. That's how you build a community on the EXP platform. Make sense? I was like a minute or less. So this was my group. Back in 2019, I had 20 agents in my community. Right now, I have over 1,600 agents in my community. And for those of you that don't know what that means, I'm just going to wrap it up this way. I was able to have been here 5 years. After 2 years, I was generating enough income to take care of all of my family's needs, whether I sold houses or not. 5 years later, it is more than covering all my income, and I get to sell houses now because I enjoy it, because it's fun. Does that make sense? Remember that concept of freedom? Like some of you might want to do this full time. Some of you might want to do this part time. Some of you maybe just a little extra income. Whatever it is, it just gives you another way. Whatever you're going towards, right? Whatever it is for you, right? I had to get over my own ego. I had to learn something new. It felt really awkward. And I had to develop a belief. That was truly what it was. You'll hear so many speakers talking about this. So I hope that in the few minutes we had today, I hope I just opened up your mind a little bit to options and opportunities. And no matter what you do, guys, it's just all about your own belief. Right? Believe in yourself. I believe in you. Keep going one step after another. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys.